What's up, everybody? It's Newman. I got the DH with me today. This is our first show, Roughing the Passer, since the draft. The NFL draft is in the books. And, it's funny with the NFL draft, with the lack of sports, there was a lot of people watching. I think there was a lot of non football people that watched that draft as well. We're live from Roger Goodell's basement. His wife kicked him
Yes.
out. We moved in. It looks a little different because we threw out some of his stuff because we didn't really want it. But all joking aside, the draft is in the book. Some surprises, some guys kind of fallen, some guys kind of the Raiders did their usual, mouth jaw dropping reach picks, and so we're going to talk about all that stuff again. As you know, if you've seen this show before, we'd love for you to call in and talk about anything on your mind as well. How your team did or didn't do, who you thought had the best draft, who you think's going to be a bust, who you think's going to be a sleeper. Obviously, we have our own thoughts and opinions, but this is about you folks as well. So we're going to talk about everything draft. It's hard to believe it's the first show since the draft, but you know what? That's good because it allows some of the dust to settle and kind of see what's going to happen more. With everything going on with COVID-19, um, doing a show every week probably not as necessary. So we'll catch you all up today.
No, absolutely. And guys, if you may have noticed, there's been some major technical difficulties on StreamYard's end tonight. So apologize for our awesome Cheers inspired intro that you didn't get a chance to see. I know you guys are dying to see it every week, so I do apologize. But yeah, John, this draft with everything going on in the world, it was a different type of draft. Nobody really knew what to think, how it was going to go down, what anything really whatsoever. Like it was really for the first time in a long time, just something completely up in the air where people didn't know too much about it. And I don't know about you, before we get into talking about players and all that type of stuff, I gotta ask you, what did you think about the draft? Because to tell you the truth, I loved it. I thought it was
Yeah,
great.
I did too. I thought it was gonna. I didn't think it was gonna be a train wreck. I know the NFL's usually on their shit pretty good, where that wasn't gonna. No one was gonna fall on their face, but I thought there would be, being a virtual draft and no live audience. I thought there'd be some issues and some gaffes, and there really wasn't. Other than catching Roger Goodell kind of talking, not knowing they were live. And that only happened once or twice, and it wasn't even too bad. I thought it actually played out pretty well. What I hoped happened would happen didn't. I was hoping Roger's wife would call down from upstairs that he had to do something or take out the trash or something like that. That didn't occur. I'm sure he probably told her, "Hey, I'm going to be busy for the next few hours." But
Right.
I thought it went well, and to tell you the truth, I don't know about you, Drew, but I thought it went well enough where it makes you wonder if maybe even when everything is past and we're back to some sort of normalcy, if they're going to incorporate some of this virtual draft stuff even
Hey,
into the
what's up,
real the
Tyler?
real draft.
I'm sorry, just shout out to my buddy Tyler Sink for checking out the show. What's going on? And Nathaniel, how you guys doing? But yeah, man, I agree. The first round never. The
Yeah.
first round's too much. That day one is just too much of a TV spectacle. Once everything gets back to normal, I could easily see that. But when it comes to maybe extending it to Sunday, those Sunday days where people are exhausted, where it's mostly done, the way this draft was done just in person, hey, why not? It would provide some sort of entertainment.
Yeah.
But I was absolutely blown away at how at how good this draft was. Like, and maybe it was because I wasn't expecting much, but as far as the presentation itself, I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah, you had grandfathers falling on the floor. You had a boyfriend ripping the phone out of a
Yeah.
girlfriend's. I mean, you had. I think it checked all the boxes. You know, you had Joe Burrow not looking super thrilled to be
Can
a
you blame
Bengal.
him?
He's going to get paid. At least smile for the money. You know, so. But I thought really it was funny whenever someone got picked, you really didn't know what kind of reaction you were going to see, and I thought that was cool. Let's be real, it was kind of cool to see, you know, the houses of where these guys live, parents or grandparents, and all the different types of houses and locales and reactions you know, seeing them sort of in their element rather than in a green room or New York or a big city stage. And so, like we talked about, I think they're going to encompass some of it even in future drafts. Like you said, I think the first round will be come up and hug it out with the commish, and then maybe the rounds after the first round will be all the virtual stuff to incorporate it in. I thought it made for great TV.
No, at 100%. I could not agree with you more. So, guys, once again, I'm posting the link right now. I posted it in the comments, and I'm going to be posting it on the banner. You guys know the deal. The whole idea of this show is we want you guys to call in, ask us questions, let us know what you thought. The question of the day, I'm actually going to put it up as I edit this so it slides across the bottom all nice and purdy. But what did you think of your favorite team's uh, draft? How do you think your team did? Were you happy with your picks? Was there a pick you weren't so happy about? Call in, let us know. Let's talk about your team on one of these days where I know everybody's probably sitting at home watching the draft, and hey, you probably don't get a chance to talk about it too much. Well, here's your chance. Call in, let us know, you know, what you thought about your team's draft picks anytime throughout the show, no matter what we're talking about. You guys know us. We'll stop on a dime. But John, you know, the point of the show is it says right down there on that little ticker, this is the post-draft recap and our analysis. So I guess first things first, we need to dive into the draft, and we'll go through a couple of different things, but we'll take a look at the first round as a whole, and we'll start there. What did you think of round one in terms of the picks? Did you think it went how it should have gone? Did you think too many people reached? You know, what'd you think of the first round? Like, where these, you know, impact players, so to speak, landed?
Yeah, I think it was kind of nothing too shocking. I thought the Raiders again. I think you know, with the Raiders, and I love for a Raider fan to come on and really tell me I'm wrong, but the Raiders, it's almost like Mayock and Gruden are trying to like be cute and say, hey, we're gonna do something you don't expect, and we're gonna be right, and we're gonna laugh at you 2 years from now and say, see, and they did it kind of last year, and they did it again this year with the picks. And you know, they took the first wide receiver,
Yeah,
and the first wide receiver off the board they took was Henry Ruggs. And I'm not
yeah.
saying Henry Ruggs is going to be terrible,
I think
but
he's
when
going
you
to be
had it,
great.
yeah, but when you have, you know, Jerry Judy, C.D. Lamb sitting there, I mean, you might as. I thought that if you're going to do that, then trade back a few picks or 7, 8 picks and get another pick. I mean, if you're gonna, you
Right.
know what I mean. You gotta know your competition, and
Right.
no one
Yes.
else was gonna take
100%.
Ruggs there. You could have got him later.
Yes. No. Absolutely. 100%. I agree with you there. I think there were some very interesting picks. all together throughout the entire first round. When it came to my Panthers, I mean, all right, we'll go through a little bit of it here. Obviously, Burrow going number one. Then you're looking at Okuda going to Detroit. Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle from Georgia, kind of a shocker there at New York. Tua, as always, predicted going to Miami. A-Bear, a little bit of a shock going to the Chargers. And then a big shock for me, Derek Brown going to the Panthers from Auburn. I love the pick, but I really thought we were going after Isaiah Simmons, who was taken right after us by the Cardinals. Even though I think Derek Brown's a solid one. You look through here, like you said, Henry Ruggs being taken at 12. You look at Judy at 15, CeeDee Lamb at 17. One could argue CeeDee's in the best position of all of these guys. But I look towards the end of the draft, and I see my favorite rookie that I think is going to have the biggest impact of any rookie in the first round, which we'll talk about later. But I see a pick that's been heavily talked about in the news. I think you're about to finally see the interview by the bitter little piece of shit as soon as he finally gets off his ass and wants to talk about it. But right over at pick number 26, the Green Bay Packers taking Jordan Love out of Utah State. Now, on the last show, you had some harsh criticism for Jordan Love. You and your son, if I remember correctly. What do you think about that pick right there? And what do you think it says about the Packers?
I think it's clear as day, Drew. I think it says, we're kind of tired of Aaron Rodgers shit, and his attitude. Now he's still the starter. Let's be real here. But I think what it does, it just says, it sends a message to Aaron Rodgers: we're in control. You're the quarterback of the Packers. You aren't the Packers, and you're at the end of the line, not the middle of the line. And the light at the end of the tunnel is a lot closer than the light at the beginning. And we're already thinking beyond you, because there's going to be an end to this. And he's not going to finish his career. I think it also tells you he's not going to finish his career in Green Bay. I think you're going to see, it's almost like Brett Favre Part 2. It's just Aaron Rodgers is now Brett Favre. I think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers wind up going somewhere else. Maybe even two teams before he finally, calls it a career. And, a lot's going to see what Jordan Love looks like to them in camp if they get to have one. If to them he looks like he might be as advertised, or advertised at least to them. I'm not sold on him, but apparently they are. If they think he is what they think he is, who's to say they don't trade Aaron Rodgers, or even for like a second or third round draft pick, and just say, you know what, it's going to end sometime. We like this kid Love, and we're ready to go ahead.
I think you nailed it dead on. And once again, everybody, first off, I'm taking a look and seeing who's watching. Thanks so much to everyone. I see a lot of new names here watching tonight. Thank you so much. Hope you guys are hanging in there. And as always, there's a link we post here in the comments that I am going to post yet again right now that you guys can click on to call in and join the show. Let us know what you think about your team's draft pick. But John, you really, I think you have a lot of really good points there, because I'll tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers is absolutely 1,000% done in Green Bay. He will not finish his career in Green Bay. I think had they drafted a quarterback, had they drafted his successor in the 3rd to 6th round while he was still playing good, I think he stays there forever. But LaFleur goes on record saying, well, it wasn't my decision. Well, dude, the fuck it was, because you already praised Luck. You went and scouted him. You made your feelings known for him. You knew you liked him, and you didn't fight against it. So, and you had that power to fight against it because you fought against it later in your press conference later. He said he fought for this guy later. So he didn't fight to not take Love, but yet he'll fight for other people down the line in the draft, which I think is the biggest issue here, which makes Aaron Rodgers ultimately leave, is that the disconnect with the coach is going to start. I think you're going to see it at the beginning. They had that good relationship, but you knew it wasn't going to last. Aaron just too old and too much of a prick. I've met him multiple times outside of football, in public, when he was alone, not bothering him, just regular, like, situations where he's supposed to be nice to people. He's an asshole. So, I mean, the stories are true. And that relationship is 100% going to sour. There's no way he stays in Green Bay after that. He takes that as a massive insult. He should take it as a massive insult. Now, granted, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I think he sucks. So I think it's good that they freaking took a quarterback over him. And I love seeing him have to go through all this crap. But this is definitely the beginning. But it's also, I think, the beginning of the end of not only Aaron, but possibly LaFleur. He might not survive this, depending on how he can handle this and handle Aaron and what he's going to do. That could cost a really good young coach's job.
Yeah. Well, it's bad when Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre become phone buddies.
What's up,
and
Ash?
they're talking a lot, So, and Brett Favre even came out the following day and said, "I talked to Aaron last night." So Aaron didn't waste no time contacting Brett Favre for his opinion. So there's trouble there. Let's be real. Let's not sugarcoat it. There's trouble in Green Bay as far as the chemistry goes. I don't think I think some people got crossed off some Aaron Rodgers Christmas card lists. How does now the interesting part is, how does the exit strategy work? There's going to be an exit. Is it going to be real ugly? Is it going to? I think it's going to be one of two things: ugly or real ugly. I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah. There's no in between. No. There's no way this ends nicely. There's no way this ends amicably. Brett Favre himself, who knows a little bit about being disrespected, who knows a little bit about being a little self-centered douchebag, kind of the Aaron Rodgers idol, you know what I mean? Like, that's where he probably got it from. If anyone knows anything about it, it's Brett Favre, and even he says it. So, I mean, I just don't see it. I thought that pick shocked me more than anything. And Damien, I see your comment here, Damien. I want to talk about this discussion. I would love to have you call in and join us here on that. Click the link and call in. I'll give it about 5 minutes. If you don't call in 5, I'm going to assume you're not going to. But I want to discuss that as well, because that was another pick that was questionable that I wanted to discuss.
And here's the other thing, Drew. I don't know what they see in Jordan Love that and they traded up, and I forgot whoever they traded up in front of.
Yeah,
that team they traded in front of wasn't going to take Jordan Love. So I'm not sure what was going there. I guess they were worried about a couple teams just in front of them, but sometimes you wonder, are you competing against yourself? Just because you love them, you assume there's someone else that does, and maybe not. And so it makes you wonder if they didn't have to trade up to get the same goal accomplished, but that's the chance you take. They didn't want to take that chance, so they traded up, got their guy they wanted, and you had to know, if you're Green Bay's front office, that this was going to upset the apple cart. There's no other way. So they can't play naive and say, well, we're just thinking about what's best for the team. You knew that this was going to ruffle feathers. They know Aaron Rodgers better than anybody. They know his
Yeah,
mentality and his
of
brooding.
course they do.
So this wasn't by accident. This was a message. This was a shot over the bow to Aaron. Your probably days are numbered here on our call, not your call. And I think the message was sent. I don't think Aaron liked the message. He reached out to Brett Favre, his not so great buddy, and now they're becoming buddies, and that says a lot in itself right there. So that thing's going to be a soap opera, must see sort of TV. That's the thing I find interesting. They didn't, Here's the other thing: whether you like
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers, or you don't like Aaron Rodgers, he
yeah.
truthfully last year was one big time wide receiver away from maybe making the Super Bowl. And
No,
they
blah
went out
blah
and they
blah.
didn't pick any real major offensive help. They got AJ Dillon
Good.
for the running backs, but they didn't give
You,
him any weapons to throw to. That's
You
for
know
sure.
why they didn't give him any weapons in the draft? You want to know why? Because the last couple of years they've given him rookie wide receivers in the draft. He's destroyed amazing wide receivers' confidence because he's a piece of shit to all the rookie wide receivers in
Yeah,
particular.
I
Go
hear.
read the stories from multiple. He destroys their confidence as opposed to someone like, I can't believe I'm about to say this, someone like a Tom Brady or someone like a Cam Newton who will pick those guys up and want to encourage them. No, he wants to go beat on you. He wants to go beat you down and make you feel like total shit. That breaks people. So, yeah, the organization, it honestly probably just sick and tired of wasting high round picks on wide receivers for Aaron Rodgers to go his little diva bullshit on him. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just me, but who knows?
yeah, but I'm not saying you're wrong, but here's the thing: you're kind of one or two games away from the Super Bowl. If you're only going to have Aaron Rodgers for another year anyway, why not make a run? Why not do something to
Oh
make a
yeah,
run?
one hundred
That's the
percent.
thing about their draft. They sort of, I don't want to say they punted their draft, but they didn't act like a team that was real
Well,
close.
Well, did they? In that retrospect, they may have because let's face it, with this COVID, there's a lot of people still available, a lot of players still available, good players still available. They may have drafted by need and wanted to get those guys, those complementary players for Aaron. They may plan on doing more of that in the free agency cut down area, once you go through camp. They might want to see what they have at a couple of positions and see. There's a couple of teams I know that have 5 or 6 wide receivers that could easily start on any NFL team in the top 3. There's probably 4 that I can think of, and they're not going to be able to keep all of them. So a couple of these guys are going to get cut. There's going to be amazing talent on the market. And if you look at it, there was, I think, 78% it was, or some number like that, of the catches in football last year came from undrafted free agents. So,
Yep.
there's a ton outside of the draft. I think there's a lot of potential talent, especially on that regard, where they can give him the help if that's ultimately what they want to do. Give him that help, unless they just want to phone it in and get him out of here. Awesome. He is joining the show. So, John, we can go back to this here in just a little bit if we want to, but I want to bring Damian in on the show now because he had a question in the comments that I really wanted to talk about. Damian, welcome to the show, my friend.
What's up, bro?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Just packing up some wax to ship out.
I hear you. I'm fixing to send out a bulk club to SBC tomorrow.
Here, I'll show. Here, I'll show you.
Yep, there you go. That's what I like to see, my friend. Well, first of all, a lot of people probably couldn't see your comment or they may have missed it. So with your question and everything and your comment, just let everyone know what I wanted to have you call on to talk about what we're talking about here.
About Hurts going to the Philadelphia Eagles, going to take over for Wentz this season once he goes down again.
Okay, so you think that do you think that Carson Wentz is done in Philly?
Absolutely. After this season, after the concussion in the playoffs last season, the back injury the year before, the knee injury with the ACL that time, he's going to be done. They're drafting a replacement. Yeah, it's great to give a guy $120 million, but as Donovan McNabb came out and said, he's been injured too many times over the last few seasons. They're looking for a backup. They don't have Foles anymore, so Foles was our hero when we won that Super Bowl, and they should have never let him go then, but it is what it is.
Yeah,
I think this is an interesting pick. A lot of people had Hurts going to my Steelers with that 46 pick in the second round. I wouldn't have been that disappointed at that point with that pick. Didn't, obviously, as we're all talking about this right now, didn't go down that way. The thing with Hurts is he's sort of, he's not a sure bet, and so, I thought Philly, if you're going to do that, you're probably better off going to sign a veteran, like Andy Dalton,
Cam Newton,
or someone of that ilk. Not Nick Foles again. They did that once, but someone that ilk. Well, he wants to start, but
he'll get
someone.
to.
Newton, we walked over too many times, and he's got too many injuries to.
Yeah, I thought Philly would probably go after someone with a little more experience. I mean, Hurts may not be the answer, even if Wentz gets hurt. And where are you then? So, I mean, that's a pretty good ball club. And if they go, we saw what happened to my Steelers, who are actually a pretty good team when you have no quarterback. You go in the tank and you watch playoff games instead of being in them. So I thought Philly might have, went the route of a veteran backup, and maybe pick a quarterback later on, someone like an Eason or a Fromm in the third, fourth, or fifth rounds. But that's why those guys get paid big money. They watch all the film, so apparently they think Hurts can be something, and we'll find out. Wentz, like we just talked about, seems like he's probably going to miss time every year. So he's getting to that level with him. So we'll see.
I mean, it's possible they use Hurts as a wildcat offense.
That's what I was about to ask. Do you see them? You obviously, Damian, follow the Eagles a lot more than I do. Could you see them? I know this is a copycat league, and I think a lot of people are seeing that the Taysom Hill role in New Orleans is much more than a gimmick. It's not a gimmick like the Wildcat was. It's actually got potential to be used in multiple different ways. I think it can stick around for a long time if you have the right athletes around you. And so could you see them possibly, even while Wentz is healthy, let's say Wentz goes back and has one of his MVP seasons? I don't really care because the Panthers would be bottom dwelling for somebody else. But, if he's having one of those MVP seasons, do you think, you've got a creative offensive mind out there for your coach? Do you think you could see Hurts and Wentz and people, kind of having that Taysom Hill type of role carving out in Philly?
Absolutely. Our receiving core last year was nothing. I think the stat was Wentz didn't even have a 500-yard receiver. He threw over 4,000 yards and didn't have a receiver that caught for 500 yards. It was the first time ever. I mean, it's going to be an interesting time in Philly this year. McCown went down with an injury last year during that game too. So we're going to see what happens this year. Hopefully we can pull it out. We can, if anything, we just have to beat Dallas. That's all we ever care about in Philly. It's just beating Dallas.
Well, I don't think
Giants are easy to walk over, and so are the Redskins, but it's always about beating Dallas.
well, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that this year. But Damian, thanks so much for calling in, man. And it's always a pleasure to
no
talk.
problem.
And we'll keep in touch, man.
Hey, one other question for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, absolutely.
Non-draft related. You guys are
Sure.
talking about the Nationals or what? This is
on this show, no, but I will be talking about it on John's actually going to be one of my guests joining me. We have a special this Wednesday on the Let Me Get That Potograph page. It's going to be a video roundtable about the state of grading, and we're going to be discussing the National during that quite a bit.
Let me know because I haven't decided if I was going to cancel my table yet now.
All right, well, don't cancel your table. You get to see me, so that right there, I mean, it's worth it. You know
All
that.
right, dude.
All right, guys. Have a good one, man. Have a good evening.
Good night. Thanks, Damien.
No problem. Later.
All right. See, guys, it's really, really simple. You don't have to be scared. You just click a button. You don't even have to show your face if you don't want to. Once again, call in. Let us know what you think about your team's draft. Was there a pick you loved? Was there a pick you hated? Did you hate all your picks? Did you love all your picks? Do you think your team turned? I love hearing these. We just had the greatest draft. We're going to the Super Bowl. Those are my favorites. Please call in and give me that humor. I mean, I'm
not going to say that.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I know you got some logic behind you. But once again, we always love having the guests on the show. So, Damien, thanks again for calling in, guys. And as I said, the comments are right there. You can call in. It's putting it right here in the comments if you would like to call in. We do have a little bit of time left here on today's show. But John,
and while you're doing that, Drew, Philly made another nice pick was Cam Akers, the Florida State running back.
Yes.
Where they got him, I was kind of hoping he was going to be a Steeler. I like him. The Steelers wound up getting McFarland from Maryland, who a lot of people do like, including Reggie Bush, who calls him the next Le'Veon Bell. I'm not there yet, but I was kind of, truth be told, I was kind of hoping the Steelers would have grabbed Akers. So, Philly wound up getting him. I like that pick. That pick might be better than the Hurts pick, when we talk about football a few years from now. We might be talking more about Akers than Hurts. That's the fun of draft talk, post-draft stuff, is you can have these conversations. And
there absolutely is, and that's where we're going to jump to right now. I want to dive into something, and I want you guys to call in and let us know who you think is the correct answer to this. But John, this was a draft full of skill players all over the place, and I think for the first time in a long time, with all of this COVID stuff, GMs and scouts really didn't overthink it too much because they didn't have enough to go on. They really looked, saw what they liked, and went with it. And I think a lot of players went to teams that fit really well. On the flip side, there's some organizations that are just absolutely awful and don't know how to draft. And so, players get stuck on the wrong team all the time. So, first up, when you look at this draft, John, who do you think is going to be maybe not 10 years down the line best career, but who's going to be the breakout rookie of next season?
Man, I like, as much as I don't like the Cowboys, they drafted really well. That's something
great.
You rarely say that. I know Damien's probably like, shut up right now, but you can say what you want. I don't like the Cowboys. I'd rather not say this, but they drafted very un-Cowboy like. They took in most cases the best player on the board, regardless of need. I mean, let's be real. they technically didn't need CD Lamb, but when a
No.
guy like that drops to you at that point, and you take him and you add him across the field from Amari Cooper,
Yeah,
you know, that's a pretty bold move, and
I like
I
that.
thought they did well.
I like that, dude, but I've got to say, man, we're going to stop for a second before I give mine because I want to talk about CD. Jerry Jones may have just put a target on this kid's back that I don't know if he's ready to handle, and I don't know if he wants to handle. He was not known. I mean, it was very well, if he can't mature rapidly fast, like ridiculously fast, he's got a bullseye on him with Jones thrusting 88 on him. He didn't want to wear it.
Yeah.
The number should be retired in fucking Dallas. Like it should be. It's worn by 2 Hall of Famers, should be a third. The fact that Drew isn't is a fucking travesty. And I don't like Dallas. Like that number, to thrust that number on him because what? Some old college buddy that has no relation to him had the last name Lamb, so you wanted to put 8. Like it just, I don't know. Throwing that number on him, it's a sacred number in Dallas. You know how that is. And if anything, it brings 800 different interviews his way and makes him have to answer 8 billion questions that have jack shit to do with football. And that's what concerns me with CD is you're giving him a million fucking distractions. I think he's great. I think he has a lot of potential. I think him and Cooper could be deadly together if they can work together. Cooper does not like to work together with other wide receivers in the past. I'd like to see it happen. I think CD's better than Cooper, but what Jerry did, I'll say it right now, CD can probably, be just fine and move past it. But what Jerry Jones did to him was just straight fucked.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I mean, the number thing, you still got to go out and play. I think having, we forget about
Dwayne.
We forgot about Michael Gallup. I don't think he's got to go out there and light it up his rookie year. I think he's got to make some plays, learn under Gallup
We
and Cooper.
We didn't forget about Michael Gallup. Trust me, he's just Michael Gallup.
I don't think he's got as much pressure as you think. I think people are going to give him a year to learn from the 2 veterans in front of him, and it's the second year. I think people might really look at him, and who knows? Maybe Cooper's not there. Maybe if they feel like CD Lamb's the guy, they'd move Cooper.
Well, CD Lamb will ultimately be the number 1 wide receiver in Dallas if he can overcome this number crap. People might say, Drew, you're retarded. It's a number. You don't understand what that number means to I hate Dallas, but a lot of my family likes Dallas, and a lot of my family grew up in Texas. I know a lot of people that are diehard Dallas fans. That number is sacred. The people that put that on, there is an expectation of you. If CD Lamb does not come out and perform tremendously, it's going to be very interesting to see if this doesn't really, really hurt his career. And I just think it's wrong for Jerry Jones to have done that. But anyway, yeah, Melissa, I like Michael Gallup as well. I was just fucking around, Just kidding. But thanks for watching the show. A lot of friends. Dwayne, what's up, buddy? Lou Blassie. Damien, thanks again, buddy. Ban those family members. I hear you. Paul Jatzlau, Gary King, Marcelo, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Please call in. Let us know what you think about your team. Paul, why don't you call in? Let me know what you think about your Texans draft and D-Hop bouncing. But moving on, John. So your pick was CD? You think CD is is going to be the breakout rookie? Is that who you were going with?
I think. Well, when you asked the question, I thought you meant like of this draft. Maybe not. I wasn't thinking so much the first year, but like a few years down the line, they're the best player
Okay,
in the
well, either
draft.
way you want to do it's fine.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So
This year, I don't know. I think he's going to have. I think he's going to do more learning than doing, or a little bit of both. So I don't know if he's going to be the best rookie of the year. I like a couple of the running backs that were taken for this year. You know, you got a guy I really like,
hush,
Jonathan Taylor.
hush,
DeAndre
hush,
Swift.
hush, 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 hush. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, I mean, like you said, a lot of offense and a lot of secondary safeties and corners were deep
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
And so there's going to be a lot of starters coming from
Well,
this draft.
I'll tell
Uh,
you the starter that's going to be the breakout rookie of this year. He may
let's
not
hear
have
it.
the greatest career forever because of his position, and he's a running back. So eventually he's going to be, his body's going to break down. He's going to go to a committee a couple years down the line. But there is a running back that was an absolute steal. I do not know how this happened, just baffles me. And it's in the first round, all the way at the end at number 32 with Clyde Edwards-Helaire for LSU going to, the Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Dude, did you watch Clyde at all? The dude
I
is an
watch a lot of
absolute
LSU games.
exactly. The dude is an absolute monster. You put him in that backfield with all of the additions that they have. I think he is going to be one of Mahomes' biggest and favorite toys of the year. I think it is going to just be it's going to be crazy. What's going on, Steven? I think he by far is going to have he could win rookie of the year. I'll put it that way. I could see him winning offensive rookie of the year for the simple fact that Mahomes has needed one thing. He's needed a running back that can catch out of the backfield and create separation, and he just got an amazing one. But on that note, we do have a phone call, John. We'll get back to Helaire in just a minute. And it is Paul. He did join the show. What's up, Mr. Jets?
What's up, man?
How's it going, man?
Man, this broadcast is jacked up. I keep hearing double shit.
He's needed a running back that can catch out of the backfield and create separation. And you'd probably have to put headphones in or turn your volume down. Just a minute, and it is Paul. He did join the show. What's up, Mr. Jets? All right, we're gonna see if he can fix this, and we'll get back to him here in just a minute. I'm gonna send him a message real quick. So, what do you think about Clyde?
I mean, I saw a lot of LSU games, man. He's definitely a stud college guy. Just worry about his size. I know that's the old cop out, and there's been plenty of small backs. I just worry about his size and his durability. I don't think Kansas City wants him to be, but I don't think he's going to be an every down back, but I just worry about his durability and staying healthy and with his frame. He was the first running back taken, which they sent a message there, that they like what he can do with his hands and his feet. I like the talent. I'm not criticizing the pick. I know why they made it. I know what they see in him. I guess my question is standing up to the speed of the NFL and the hit you're going to take on this next level, and he's a great player, but as you know, Drew, the NFL is a great equalizer. He's not going to always be the fastest guy on the field. And so I like the pick, but if I like the pick, and I know it's a cliche thing, bar an injury, but that's what worries me about him.
Sure.
Is an injury.
Right. Well, we're going to try pulling Paul back in and we'll see. Hey, Paul, how's it going, bud?
I keep hearing double messages, bro.
All right, buddy. Well, maybe we can get you next week. Real quick, just let us know, what'd you think of your Houston Texans draft?
Well, I can only hear myself, but the Houston Texans draft was somewhat solid, but their offseason was just fucked.
Yeah.
Everybody in Houston just hates Bill O'Brien, calling for his fucking head.
So you're calling for Bill O'Brien's head. You want him gone.
Get in that line.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Paul,
people that want Bill O'Brien
yeah.
gone.
Well, Paul, thanks so much for calling. John,
probably some of his own family members.
Oh my God, I think everyone wants Bill O'Brien's head in terms of if you're a fan. Roy, you hated the Lions draft. Call in, let us know why. You don't have to show it. You can just call in. Let's chat. Please. There's your link. Call in, y'all.
Danger when you let a guy head coach and GM. He's the poster boy for not doing that.
Yeah.
You could say, another Bill gets it right with Belichick, and this Bill gets it wrong in O'Brien.
Yeah. All right, so we got our breakout players that we talked about, John, but obviously there's going to be some draft picks that just make you go, what the fuck were they thinking? So when you look at these, they may not be what the fuck are you thinking right now, but a couple years down the line, who are these draft picks that teams are going to regret the most?
Yeah, we talked about them. We talked about the sort of the effect with chemistry and attitude. I'm not sold on Jordan Love, man. I don't think he's that good. So I don't, if they want to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, there's a way to do that without taking a guy that's so questionable. So I'm not buying Jordan Love like the Packers are. I thought they reached extremely. I think they thought they had more competition for him than they might actually have had. And I think they were worried that the Patriots were going to take him late and with the last pick or the next to last pick. I don't think the Patriots were going to do that. So I think the Packers traded up when they almost didn't have to. They traded up for a guy who throws a lot of interceptions. His maturity's been questioned at times. And, you can say what you want about Aaron Rodgers, that he's bristly, he's brooding, he's not the greatest teammate, but the guy's a pretty good quarterback that probably has a few years left, and now you've just kind of overturned the whole room. And I don't know if Jordan Love is the guy I would have did that for. Maybe someone else, but not him. So I think when we look back at this draft, I think Jordan Love's going to be one of those guys we scratch our heads later on and say, man, that didn't work out for the Packers. In other words, Jordan Love's not going to be the guy that makes Packer fans forget Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and Damian also says Jalen Reagor from the Eagles is going to be a bust from TCU, and that's I'm right there with you, Damian. I agree with you, and I'm right there with you, John. I agree with you.
I like Reagor. I like Reagor from TCU.
So do I, but I don't think he's in the right situation. I think there's going to be a lot of problems there. Sadly for Damian, I think the Eagles are in a similar situation that the Panthers are in, where they just don't know exactly what they are yet. They've got pieces there to where they could be great, but there's a lot of pieces that don't fit that puzzle, and they need to, move those pieces around. But I'm looking at players, and I agree with your pick completely. And if you look on this show last week, who was I praising? Love. But what did I say? He had to go to the right situation. He had to go to the right team. He went to the absolute wrong team. So I could 100% see that happen. And I've actually got a couple of people on my list, and this is just in the first round alone. I'm looking at people and I could see 3 or 4 people that do not deserve to be in here and that I could end up thinking could be a very, very big bust. But I'm going to go with somebody who's a top 5 pick. Might be a little obvious to a lot of people, but my reasoning might not be what a lot of people think, and that's Tua. All right, so he goes to Miami. He's finally in Miami. Yay, whoop-de-doo. He's supposedly healthy. Miami wants to build a team around him. That's great. John, how many years is Miami away from contending for anything?
Oh yeah, they're not super close, but they're.
No,
Let's be
but
real, they are better. They have made improvements.
okay, but how many years? Just answer the question. How many years are they?
Probably 3.
Okay. All right. There you go. 3 years from beginning to start contending for anything. I don't think Tua lasts by year 3, year 4, year 5. That's when the hip, that's when the injuries, that's when all of that. That's when I have major, major, major concerns. He's going to get beaten to hell this year. They did nothing to protect him. If he can make it through this year healthy, it would blow my mind. But I'm not worried about him much about this year and next year and third year. It's that 4th, 5th, and 6th year when he's trying to win a Super Bowl. And that's why I think he's going to be ultimately the biggest disappointment, because I think he's put in a position to where he could, but he went to the wrong team. If they could have switched Abear and Tua, if he could have gone to San Diego where they had a little easier route, a little less physical route to get to the Super Bowl and the pieces were there, I think Tua has a stellar career and he's off my list. You put him in Miami, I don't know if his body can hold up long enough for him to make it, what he is. I'm rooting for him, even though I hate the Dolphins, but my answer is Tua.
Yeah, it's funny when me and my son Jordan, who you met on the last show, we watched the draft together. And as that pick was coming up, I told Jordan, I said, I think they're going to take Herbert. And he's like, nope, I bet you that. And we almost bet actual money. And I said, nah, I'll bet you a beer, And he was right. They went with 2. I thought they were going to go with the safe, healthy pick. That's why you got to be careful believing everything you read. I started to read stuff that Herbert had moved it ahead of 2 in their draft board. And so, I would have loved to be a fly in that room and see how many of that front office. I bet you it was probably 50-50. Let's go Herbert. Let's go Tua. And, what I would be curious is who made that final call. Was it GM or the head coach?
Yeah.
Because I got to think that was pretty close of who they were going to go with.
Yeah. Very true. Nick Gable saying at least you don't have someone like Terry Bradshaw calling the coach just a cheerleader.
I love but that guy likes to hear himself talk. So
yeah. Conrad, let's see, Mr. Conrad catching up with everybody. I thought the Packers should have taken Laviska Shenault. Absolutely. Or Michael Pittman. Either of those would have been phenomenal picks for them. Phenomenal. And yes, Stephen, the Dolphins O-line is terrible. That's what worries me about Tua. Like I said, talented kid. All the stuff in the world. There's a big difference. You can be the most cocky, arrogant, think you're the most badass son of a bitch in the world, just like Joe Burrow does. But when him and Tua spend 75% of this year on their ass in a lot of pain, wondering who the fuck just hit them because someone didn't block, let's see what it does to that confidence. Let's see how they walk into the room and walk in the next day feeling like a badass when their whole team watched them laying on the ground like my son falling off of a fucking swing set for like an hour. Like, it's just a lot of stuff changes and, it can really, really, really mess everything up. So that first year's critical. I just don't see Tua lasting. But John?
Well, yeah, you saw the comment. I hated the Lions draft by
Yeah.
Roy. I love the DeAndre Swift pick,
DeAndre
but
Swift's awesome.
like to me, trade Kerryon Johnson, like get another draft
Yeah.
pick. Because DeAndre Swift to me is going to be a franchise back, number one.
Yeah.
You pick him, you pick him, move Kerryon Johnson, and maybe they did. I
Fast.
mean, I'm not in that war room. Maybe they did try to move him. They couldn't, and they still couldn't pass up.
The only reason they couldn't move Kerryon Johnson is because they asked something so fucking stupid it wasn't even worth it. So many teams would pay for Kerryon, but continue.
Yeah, I mean, I love Swift. Going back to that question you asked, who might be the breakout rookie? I'd probably say this year it's going to be Swift. But
yeah,
why not move Johnson and get something of value there? Give Swift the keys to the car and get another pick or something. I just don't know. A lot of people were having the Steelers picking a running back at 46, and it's like I had the conversation with my son. If you're going to do that, I would have loved any one of those running backs, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, if they lasted there. But then you have to trade Connor. You got to make room. You can't have too many of one position on the roster. And again, they can still make moves after the draft. I get that whole thing. They can cut people.
Yeah.
But why not? If you're getting what most perceive as a number one back, a franchise back, then trade the guy you got and get something that you can utilize.
Especially during the draft where you're more than likely to get a better deal. That's when the deals are to be had. So I completely agree. And hey, all of y'all listening to John, any of you that are card collectors, XRC Silver Prism of DeAndre Swift right here for sale. Just shameless plug. But yeah, so it definitely was a wild one, that's for sure. But John, it does look like we are hitting our time limit today. It's always fun to finally get to be back. And guys, they announced the football schedule this year. Things look like it's going to be, happening on a regular basis. John, we might actually have our second season of Roughing the Passer. We might actually be able to do it.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. It's great. When you think of football, and let's be real here, and I'm not rooting against the sport I love. When you think of what's going on in the world with the pandemic and COVID-19, football is that super we all know this. All that stuff up front in the trenches, it's super contact. I just don't know how they're going to do it. I guess I'd like to see two things. If we could get, I know it usually takes 12 to 18 months, but a vaccine, or I guess every player is going to probably have to go through some testing protocols. But what happens if someone slips through the crack and then this thing runs rampant? And so you hope that's not the case, but you really wonder how this sport can pull it off with so close of a contact between players. Those guys are banging in the trenches every play, and it's going to be interesting to see if they play all the games, if they start on time, how they manage this. Obviously, I think you're going to have empty stadiums, which sucks. Let's be real. Pittsburgh's coming to Buffalo, which anytime that happens, I'm very close to Buffalo here. I always go, but I don't know if I'm going to have an opportunity to go. I think that may be an empty stadium. And so many questions. But you know what?
Pittsburgh and Buffalo fans, or Pittsburgh and Baltimore fans, will be fucking fighting through Zoom if they can't attend the stadium. They'll just set up Zoom chats where they can pretend to beat the shit out of each other. They just can't help it.
Here's a question for you, and I think I know what you're going to say. Are you okay? As a diehard football fan like me, are you okay with empty stands, but the game's being played.
Yeah, but the stands aren't going to be empty.
So what are they going to do? The whole 6 feet? And
Well, I mean, no, they're not going to do that at all because they can't control that with concessions, restrooms. Like you can have them sit 6 feet apart, but as soon as they stand up, it's gone. There's no way to
so
keep
you
that.
think they're going to be full bore? All bets are off.
It's going to be about 20 to 25% capacity. We just got our season ticket information for the Panthers, so I just got a packet talking about all this stuff. As of right now, we still have our seats. Everything is on 110% the same. They're going to have test kits if needed by then. And a lot of other stuff is still in the air, but they don't plan on postponing anything. Fans are expected to be in the event in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how many. I don't know how they're going to deal with that.
You might get your temperature taken as you enter the stadium.
Yeah, but you'd have to sit for 5 to 10 minutes to cool off, because if you walk through Charlotte from the parking garage to a football game in damn September, it's like 130 degrees, so you're gonna have a fever. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff. Face masks might need to be worn. I don't know what they're gonna do, but as I get information from our PSL stuff, I'll let you know what they say in terms of at least how the Panthers are going about everything. But yeah, Steven, Zoom fighting, it's gonna happen. It's fucking on. But anyway, yeah, so it does look like we will get some semblance, but I'm perfectly fine with football without fans. I don't care. Just give me. I thought UFC, first of all, wrestling, awesome. Love hearing the people yell at each other, especially the women. They talk shit to each other while they beat the shit out of each other for pretend. And then I watched UFC. And oh my God, I've never appreciated. I was watching it, and my sister and a couple other people were sitting there, and they're like, "So that's what a punch to the head sounds like?" And I'm like, "They're like, it sounds different than the belly." And I'm like, "Yeah, no shit. Like you could close your eyes and hear exactly where everything was." I loved it. I'm loving the sports we're getting. I know it's different. I know it's not the same. But, you know, it's awesome stuff. And at least we're finally starting to get back that way. But, and even better, we're finally starting to get this show back on the air.
Yeah. And like we said last year, we it's already in stock. I don't have it in my room. I'd hold it up. But we're going to, if you want, I'll go run out and get it. We're going to give away a Mahomes jersey. Hang on. Let me go get it. Hang on.
All right. So he's going to go get a Mahomes jersey. I'm going to pretend like I'm a dancing monkey or something and just sit here and like cut him off. Woohoo. And move everything out of the way a little bit because I can do whatever the fuck I want, apparently. But yeah, so he's going to be giving away a Mahomes jersey, which is pretty badass. Let's
all right, I'm back.
Yeah, I know. I was hogging the screen because I'm
so there you
beautiful moms. Am I eligible to win?
I'm not even a Mahomes fan, but I tell you what,
me neither. But am I eligible to win?
I don't want to give it away. It's the Super Bowl, so it's got the Super Bowl patch. I don't know.
Hold the patch up close so everyone can see, and let me get you a little bigger here. Hold on. There you go. Look at that beautiful Super Bowl patch on the jersey with the other patch on it. So you've got the double chest patch, NFL license, so you know it's not from China.
And we're going to give away one on Hobby Hotline, probably a Mike Trout or something like that. So
yes, we'll be giving a lot away. But y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been we'll be back to a regular basis now, hopefully now. If everything goes according to plan and stuff keeps going, then we'll start every week.
Well, we gotta let Michael Jordan get his
Yes,
15 minutes of fame.
yes. Once
Yeah,
Michael
you know.
Jordan's done, because we don't want to kill his ratings. We will destroy The Last Dance if we
I
go
give
up
him
against.
credit. He was nice enough to ask us, "Hey guys, I'm going to be
Yeah,
all right if I go on. I know in your slot on
of
Sunday
course,
night."
of course.
And we're like, "Hey man, you know, if it was LeBron James, we'd probably say no, but for you, Michael, well, I
Yeah.
guess we'll take
Yeah.
a seat for 4 or 5 weeks."
It's all right. Yep, 100%. And you know, he owes me a lot of money from cards, but that's another story for another time. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Wednesday evening, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Eastern time on Let Me Get That Potograph or Hobby Roundups YouTube. I'm gonna be hosting. John Newman's going to be on the show along with Jared Landris, Mark Luke, and Katz, all discussing, having a roundtable discussion on the state of the grading industry in the hobby. I know this is a sports related show, but a lot of you are crossovers. This is going to be all about grading. I'm also working in a couple of possible guest surprises. It's going to be about an hour to an hour and a half long. And I would love for you guys to tune in. It's going to be something you do not want to miss. So definitely check it out. Once again, that's Wednesday at 6 p.m. Everyone will be sharing it here in the next couple of days. But hope to see you guys there. And if not, if cards aren't your thing and you're just here to hear us rant about football, then hopefully we'll talk to you then. But John, it is always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, hey, we're one day closer to NFL again.
Absolutely. And hopefully next week our awesome cheers outro works. So till next time, guys. See you later. Peace.